let me just close by saying that I know you guys, I saw Bob Goodman over here someplace, and you've got lots of great speakers. Let me just close by saying one other thing to you. Why is it so important that we do well? When we won this election back on November the 3rd, I believe it sent a shot across the bow of a lot of people from sea to shining sea. Not just here in Virginia. I mean, people thought Virginia had become a blue state, and I think on November 3rd we said not so fast. The truth is Virginia's a purple state. It's not a Republican state or a Democrat state. It's a state of a lot of independent thinking people, and they're going to vote for candidates that share their principles and their philosophies and their values and their vision for the future. They voted for us because we ran a good campaign. We talked about the principles and values they believed in. We offered a positive vision for the future of Virginia. It's a good blueprint for how Republicans need to be running campaigns all across the country, I believe. But not only did it send a message here in Virginia, man, it sent a message across the country. Because let me tell you something. People are scared to death about what's going on in Washington, D.C. today. They're just scared because we have a government in Washington that just seems to be totally indifferent to the attitudes of the American people. And you've seen it. I mean, this philosophy of spending money we don't have to make promises we can't keep, running up a national debt that our kids and our grandkids and their kids and grandkids are going to have to pay back. Government's tentacles, getting involved in every aspect of American society, the banks and the financial institutions and the insurance companies and the car companies and, right on down the line. If there's ever been a classic example of how out of touch Washington is with the American people, it is the obvious determination of the Democratic leadership in Washington to ram down our throats a national health insurance plan that nobody wants. It's not only a bad law because it will drive up health insurance costs and health care costs and raise taxes and grow the national debt. It is, I believe, one of the most classic examples of what's wrong in Washington. The cronyism. A bill that will cost Virginia $400 million a year in expanded Medicaid benefits, yet we totally exempt some states from those costs just to buy the votes of their senators. That's wrong. That is not the way we govern. It's an unconstitutional piece of legislation. I was out. I'll just wrap up what I'm thinking, maybe by telling you a little story about why it's so important that we keep doing well and fighting for these principles and values that we all believe in. During the campaign, we had a lot of great people come in and do events for us, and one of the guys over the years that I've just become a dear friend with and I just admire and respect immensely, who came in and did, I think, about 6 fundraising events for me during the course of my campaign. And he's just become a dear friend of mine and Jean Ann's, was Governor Mitt Romney from Massachusetts. And when Governor Romney was here with us one time last summer, he gave a speech and he wrapped it up this way. I want to close my remarks to you with the same story. He talked about the greatness of America, because he believes, and I believe, and I suspect you believe, that the United States of America today is the greatest nation the world has ever done. That's what I believe. But Governor Romney talked about the greatness of America, and he said, the thing we need to always remember is that America became great because at key inflection points in our history, we had to chart a course in one direction or the other. And we became great really because those key inflection points in history helped define who we are as Americans. And he talked about those key inflection points. He said the 1960s were a key inflection point. The 60s was a turbulent decade. Out of it emerged a lot of things. Some things good, some things bad. But it helped redefine, for better or worse, who we are as Americans. He talked about World War II. That was a pivotal inflection point in the history of our country. The Great Depression, the Civil War, out of which we emerged as a nation that was more free for more people than it had ever been before. And then he worked his way back through history. He said, but what we can never forget is that the defining moment that made America what it is today was that Revolutionary War that came about and gave birth to this, the greatest nation the world has ever known, in 1776. He said, what we need to remember is what that revolution was all about. It was a struggle by a group of people, our forefathers, patriots all, who took exception to the notion of England that the government was supreme and the people were subservient to the government. Now, our forefathers said, that could be the way it is in England, but that's not the way it's going to be in the United States of America. In America, the people are sovereign and the government is inferior to the people. That's the radical notion. That's the radical notion that gave birth to this, the greatest country the world has ever known. And then Governor Romney stopped and he said, isn't it ironic? I want you to think about this. Isn't it ironic that 233 years later, we stand at the very same inflection point in history? And my friends, we do. Because the truth is that there are a group of people today that believe the government is sovereign and the people are inferior to the government. But they're not in Great Britain. They're in Washington, D.C. And what this battle that we started here in Virginia this year is all about, what this battle that we're going to carry into the fall of 2010 when we take back the United States House of Representatives. What this battle that we'll carry into 2012 when we elect a conservative Republican to represent Virginia in the United States Senate. What this battle is all about is reasserting in America that fundamental notion that the people are sovereign and the government is subservient to the people. Now, my friends, I just ask you every day, between now and 2012, get up with that burning realization in your heart. Work as if the future of the greatest nation that the world has ever known depends on what you do. Because you know what? It does. Let's preserve America the way our founding fathers encouraged it and intended it to be. You and I together, we can make that happen. Let's go make it happen. Let's take America back again.